You know, there are certain days that will always etch in your memory. The day Kennedy was shot, I remember exactly where I was and what happened, and that was certainly the most momentous day until 9/11.
On September 11th, I was in the middle of literally trying to get away from it all.
I was at home. I was in my kitchen.
I had just walked into my apartment after having dropped my 3 kids off at school.
Where the news is being made on this Tuesday, September 11th.
From CNN Center in Atlanta, this is CNN Live at Daybreak.
I was sitting in my office overlooking the newsroom, and the morning meeting was going on.
It was the most routine day. There was virtually no news that day.
Oh, it's primary election day in some cities and states. In New York City,
it's going to be a great day.
We were out covering the New York election.
I was driving down the West Side Highway.
Elsewhere, pretty quiet today. Beautiful weather, Midwest, Northeast.
I was on my way to the Pentagon. I was just pulling into the Pentagon parking lot.
September 11th is my birthday.
I turn on the television. Everybody else is asleep. I see the building. It'll be etched forever. This day changed all of us.
It's on AP, it's bulletin crash.
All of a sudden, during the commercial break, everybody started running through the newsroom. And I turned around and I said, wait a minute, what's going on? And one of the vice presidents said, unconfirmed reports of a plane into the World Trade Center.
Okay, full-fledged hard.
30 seconds later, I hear in my earpiece from the control room, get to the set, we're going into breaking news. And up comes the picture of the World Trade Center tower with a huge, smoking, gaping hole in it. And I said, holy God. This just in, you are looking at obviously a very disturbing live shot there. That is the World Trade Center, and we have unconfirmed reports this morning that a plane has crashed into one of the towers of the World Trade Center. The CNN Center right now is just beginning to work on this story.
My office faces south towards where the Trade Center used to be.
Now, Sean, what can you tell us about what you know?
This is Sean Murtaugh, Vice President of Finance for CNN.
And started with a meeting with the head of our properties group. 2 of us stood up, probably caught the last 5-6 seconds of flight of the first plane flying straight into the to the North Tower.
Oh, shit!
Impact, fireball, and when it hit, it was like a, oh, you got like a, you know, like a thud in your stomach of, did I just see what I just saw?
Sean, what kind of plane? Was it a small plane, a jet?
It was a jet.
You're talking about a large passenger commercial jet?
A large passenger commercial jet.
I thought it could have been an accident. I thought the plane was much smaller. Our shot was from a good distance off. It was when we confirmed that it was in fact a 767 that I realized what we were in for.
We are only now beginning to put together the pieces.
There's a ton of smoke coming out right now.
It is a remarkable scene.
Looks like 6, 7 floors were taken out.
I remember that moment in the newsroom when we were looking at the hole caused by the first plane. And people were saying, wow, that's weird. What was that, an accident, a small plane? And somebody said, no, 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 that's no accident.
Wow, the first one, camera's picking up the large fire on the lower floor.
The fire keeps growing, the smoke keeps growing.
As we were driving downtown, we had very little information.
Tragedy unfolding in New York City.
We turned on all news radio and were listening for whatever we could learn.
Paper floating through the air a couple of 100 feet above.
And all the information that was on news radio seemed to be secondhand.
The fire is spreading now.
The first jaw-dropping moment for us was at least a mile or 2 from the site, because the hole in the north face of the North Tower was many floors wide and many floors high. And you knew if it were a plane, it probably wasn't a Cessna or a stunt plane at that point in time. To us, it just looked like a big fire. You never thought the buildings were going to collapse. You thought the fire was going to be put out. The other thing that happened was people started coming up to us who were eyewitnesses to the incident.
So the plane was slightly on its side, and that's why it made me think maybe it was in distress. It came in like a spear. It just speared through the building.
Looked at my watch. I'm a little bit late. Holy smoke! The building I'm supposed to be in is on fire.
One thing you saw on the street were rows and rows of people. People just standing, sort of hypnotized by the flames, in disbelief.
Just watching the smoke pour out of here. The papers are still falling from the sky.
When I got outside, I saw everybody was like looking up toward the sky, and I started running downtown toward the building. And I got maybe a block or two before I saw there was a motorist stopped on the corner, so I jumped up to her window and just, waved my CNN ID in her face and said, "Give me a ride, give me a ride." And she let me in the car. I got within a few blocks of the World Trade Center when suddenly there was this second sort of roar that came out of the sky, and everyone just looked right up, and another plane came and just barreled into the other tower. At first I thought, I'm dreaming, I'm going to wake up. This can't be. This doesn't happen. I looked up and the first thing I thought was, my God, that plane is flying so low. In a big city with these tall buildings, what's it doing so low? There was a schoolyard across the street, and I remember there were kids that were being evacuated from the schoolyard. And one of the girls looked up into the sky and she said to her father, "Daddy, look, they're doing it on purpose."
Warming up. Come on, Stretch. Come on.
This was as ordinary a day as you can possibly imagine.
We talk about tax cuts.
You can talk about it at the next event.
The president's schedule was very simple. Sarasota, Florida. Emma Booker Elementary School was the location.
I am going to talk about education, though. Any news?
He was to go there, read a book to some assembled children, give some very general remarks on the importance of reading and education, and fly back to Washington. Couldn't be simpler.
What word? Yes.
Before he goes to sit with the children and to read, he is made aware that the first jetliner has struck the first tower in New York City. His instincts are to think this is not an accident, but nobody knows, and it's a very cautious internal White House reaction. The Chief of Staff, Andrew Card, approaches from his right, leans down, and says the following words: "A second plane has hit the second tower." And with those words, the President now understands the war on terrorism has begun.
Today, we've had a national tragedy. 2 airplanes have crashed into the World Trade Center in an apparent terrorist attack on our country. Terrorism against our nation will not stand. And now, if you join me in a moment of silence. May God bless the victims, their families, and America. Thank you very much.
And then begins this amazing day-long odyssey across the middle of the country as the President tries to get back to Washington, but is advised it's not safe yet, Mr. President. You need to stay somewhere else.